What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Rogue One, a Star Wars story is a sci-fi epic space opera film that was directed by Gareth Edwards and takes place right before the events of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. While Rogue One primarily follows Felicity Jones' character Jyn Erso, who's separated from her father Galen Erso, played by Mads Mikkelsen, after he is forced to work on a super weapon for Imperial forces called the Death Star. You may have heard of it before. We'll jump forward a bit in time, and Jyn Erso is all grown up as she's eventually recruited by Rebel forces to assist in the process of retrieving her father and the Death Star plans themselves so they can try and destroy it. And the rest of the film is spent watching Jyn as she helps lead a rebel force of outcasts and misfits that seek to retrieve the plans of the Death Star and hopefully put a stop to the Empire's terrible reign that's quickly spreading across the galaxy. Okay, so obviously there were some incredibly high expectations for this one from all of us out there, diehard Star Wars fans or not. The bar was set pretty high for Rogue One, even as the very first standalone, non-saga Star Wars film, and I'm happy to report that it definitely meets all those lofty expectations. Now you guys know me pretty well by now. I'm a really big Star Wars fan, and this was easily one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I went in expecting a ton, and I was actually surprised that almost all of those crazy expectations were met. I think Rogue One really serves as Disney's lab rat of sorts, in that if this one works out really well, they'd feel more comfortable taking on more standalone, non-saga Star Wars films. And while I don't think Rogue One is as good as the most recent saga film, The Force Awakens, I do think that it proved that you still can deliver a quality Star Wars product that doesn't involve the Skywalker family. I think one of the best things Rogue One has going for it is its cinematography. This has to be one of the nicest looking films of the year, not just from a CGI standpoint, but also in just how it's shot. These shots are beautifully composed and color graded, and I was so impressed by how great the non-CG shots look. For me, I think this film deserves an Oscar nomination for its cinematography. It won't get it though, because sci-fi adventure films like this almost never get nominations, but in my eyes, Rogue One is one of the year's best from a technical standpoint. The CGI also looks absolutely fantastic, besides a few character faces that are enhanced a little bit. I won't say any more than that though for risk of spoiling anything for you, but some of the characters' CGI were pretty awkward looking and just jarring, but the actual battle sequences themselves are a whole nother story altogether. They are absolutely gorgeous to look at, and 100% deliver you that exciting and breathtaking visual spectacle that Star Wars is partly known for. You get those classic battles in the skies, but Rogue One also delivers you that boots on the ground feel as well. It feels more like a gritty sci-fi war film in that way, because this film sort of cranks up the soldier element all the way up to 10 instead of primarily focusing on light side and dark side users like the saga films tend to do. In the visual department, Rogue One is easily one of the best of the year. It's just beautifully crafted. Okay, so here's my only two problems with Rogue One. Firstly, the characters. I think part of what has made Star Wars this global phenomenon for so long now is just how the universe is overflowing with rich and exciting characters. The problem lies within the fact that Rogue One doesn't really add to that long list of really unique and interesting characters within the Star Wars universe. The only two characters that made an impression on me besides Darth Vader, which we'll get to in a bit, were Jyn Erso, who gets the most screen time, and K2SO, played by Alan Tudyk. I thought Felicity Jones did a really nice job as Jyn Erso. She's a very strong, capable, and skilled leader, and that was something that really helped the film reach even higher. She's the most developed of all the characters in Rogue One, but even she is a bit underdeveloped. Rogue One succeeds despite its character deficiencies, because really besides Jyn and K2SO, none of these characters are really all that memorable. To be completely honest, I didn't even remember most of their names when the credits rolled, and that's very unlike any other Star Wars film. In a galaxy that's just overflowing with fantastically memorable characters, Rogue One kind of fails to deliver many new ones. Even The Force Awakens delivers at least 5 new characters that were extremely memorable, especially Kylo Ren, which was definitely my favorite obviously. But yeah, Rogue One succeeds despite its underdeveloped, pretty uninteresting characters that really left a bit to be desired. The other problem I had with this film was the pacing. It definitely takes a while to get going, and the first act is pretty uneventful overall. It also jumps around a lot by going to different planets with this on-screen text like almost repeatedly, and that started to get to be a bit much as well. You know how in previous Star Wars films you go and see the Empire or First Order for like decent stretches of time? Well, in Rogue One you get like less than a minute sometimes, and then you're back with the Rebels. Then 2 minutes later you're back with the Empire, and it was just jumping back and forth a bit too much, I think. But back to the pros, because all in all, Rogue One is still a really awesome film. I also thought it had some really quality humor for the most part. Most of this humor is delivered through KTSO, and he was absolutely hilarious. He was definitely definitely a memorable character because he was constantly making these wisecracking jokes that were just perfectly delivered. Other characters contribute every now and then to what ultimately proved to be a nice balance between drama and humor. I should also mention actually that there are certainly characters that if you've seen episode 4, you're definitely going to recognize in Rogue One. And if you've seen the trailers, then you already know that Lord Vader is in this film. No spoilers, but I don't want you to get your hopes up and go into this one thinking that Vader's going to play a key role and get a ton of screen time. He has a few scenes, one very memorable and awesome one, and that's it. This was perfectly fine by me, but I think you need to go in with the right expectations and not expect Vader to do a ton, because if you don't, you might be disappointed. But transitioning, another element Rogue One has going for it is its music. The score composed by Michael Giacchino is brilliant and keeps the Star Wars tradition of awesome music going strong. There's so many things happening in this film, and yet the score manages to make you feel a very specific way in each scene, and that's just powerful and effective music in film. And finally, the third act and climax are absolutely amazing. This is easily the best stretch of the film because everything gets cranked all the way up, and you get an exciting large battle that really is just very well done. There's one scene right near the tail end of the film that's one of the best Star Wars scenes that has ever been shot. Just wait until you see it. If you have seen it already, please discuss it with me in the comments, but make sure to put a spoiler tag in your comment, please. But overall, I was very satisfied with Rogue One, and it's a step in the right direction for Disney. I thought it had amazing cinematography and CGI, a good balance of humor and drama, fantastic music, and a brilliant third act and climax. The only two cons I have for this film are the lack of memorable characters and the pacing at times. I'm still going to give Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a 9 out of 10, and recommend that you go see this one in theaters ASAP, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not. It's a must-see. So did you guys see Rogue One, a Star Wars story yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you'd be interested in watching this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.